This is Between the Brackets, a Mediawiki podcast, episode 44, October 1st, 2019. Welcome to Between the Brackets. I'm Yaron Koren, and my guest for this episode is Felipe Schenone, better known by his username Sophivorus, who is a web developer focused on Mediawiki. Felipe lives in Buenos Aires, Argentina, which makes him the first person from Latin America on this program, assuming Argentina counts. So, Felipe, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Have you lived in Buenos Aires all your life?
Pretty much. I've done quite a bit of traveling during my early 20s. I lived abroad a few years, or rather some months, but mostly Buenos Aires, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, where was that?
Well, I lived in New Zealand for 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
In the US for 3 months, and then I'm in Poland for 3 other months, and then in Indonesia 3 months.
Wow, okay.
And also traveled, shorter periods in other places, but beyond that, Buenos Aires, yeah.
Yeah. So your username Sophivorus or Sophivorus, that means wisdom eater?
Yeah, basically. Old Latin.
Yeah, okay. What's that about?
I was searching for a username, and I like the etymologic approach. And I like the idea, when I came up with this name, and then Googled it. And amazingly, there were 0 results for that name, which is,
right.
I dare you to try find something that has 0 results. You would be amazed how difficult it is. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, what? This is weird.
Nobody's ever eaten wisdom before.
Yeah. Nobody has combined those letters in that way before anywhere that Google had reached. So I thought I took that as a sort of a signal, and I just grabbed it.
Cool. Yeah, having had to come up with a lot of names. I know the feeling when you come up with something original. It's like it's rare.
Yeah.
So how did you first get involved with Mediawiki and wikis in general? Well,
while I was studying philosophy, and I, all full of energy with full of energy and studying here and there and just browsing around, I met Wikipedia for the first time, and I found some articles about philosophy in Spanish, and I thought they sucked, so I decided to try to improve them, and that's how I met Wikipedia, just improving the articles on the things I was studying. And then as to Mediawiki, after some years of editing, I started getting more comfortable with the software and started getting more into templates. And there, just editing templates was my first time writing a conditional, an if.
Okay, yeah.
So that was my, there I lost my virginity as a programmer. And I became kind of skilled with it. And then around that time, I also started learning some general web development. And, the two things kind of went together slowly but surely, more and more with every year. At one point, I just started getting some jobs as a Mediawiki developer. So from then on, I thought about it, and I thought, this is a good path for me. It makes sense. It sort of marries many of my interests. So it also paid off. So, everything sort of aligned, and I kept on going.
Yeah. So when you were studying in school, I guess you didn't think you'd ever go into software.
Well, I never thought that. Yeah, but looking back, I think I did my first website when I was 18, which isn't like terribly young, but definitely younger than before I met Wikipedia.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what year was that? Or around when was that you started doing software and Mediawiki and all that?
Mediawiki, well, not that long, maybe 5 years. ago. So that's
Okay.
2013, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say the one time I was in Buenos Aires was for Wikimania.
Yeah.
Appropriately enough, that was back in 2009.
Yeah, yeah. I went to that Wikimania, but still
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, but I wasn't involved. I was already involved in Wikipedia, but not Mediawiki yet.
Right. Oh, okay. Oh, well, we might have seen each other
Maybe, yeah.
back then. Yeah.
I remember some talks there. Even a few people. Maybe I remember you. You know.
Maybe. Yeah. Who
You were
knows?
already,
I mean, yeah.
Already bald by then.
It was no. I was in transition at that point.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. I did give some talks. I was involved in one talk. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What about was it?
Must have been semantic Mediawiki in some way or another.
Yeah. Okay. I don't recall that one. But...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that was a fun experience. Buenos Aires had a really good time at the conference and in the city in general.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I guess.
Yeah. So you mentioned you did template design. You've also done gadget design.
Oh, yeah.
It's not directly MediaWiki, but I thought it was interesting that you maintain a gadget called ProveIt.
Yeah.
What is ProveIt?
Okay, so it's a reference manager. It's sort of like a visual interface for adding adding references to the wiki text. You know, as Wikipedia grew and evolved, adding proper citations with all those templates and many parameters became more and more difficult. So someone who wasn't me, called Matt Flashen, currently working for the foundation,
Right.
Him and a few others from Meet, they developed like the first version of this gadget, which basically, it gives you like a little interface where you can put, name, title, year, and then when you just click on insert reference, it generates the wiki text and spits it in there. And so I grabbed it. When I grabbed it, it was only for English, so I internationalized it and then localized it to Spanish and basically rewrote the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And then I got a grant to enhance it further. And now I'm currently working on another grant to bring it up to date to the new Wikitext editor.
Oh, okay. It's still actively being under development.
Yeah, actually, it's my current work. And it's actually also used a lot throughout Wikipedia. So I'm kind of proud of how many references it has helped put into Wikipedia, which is kind of an important aspect of the project.
Yeah, sure. Do you know any numbers offhand, statistics on?
Definitely. So the gadget is installed in at least 14 Wikipedias, maybe more. Because I don't go around checking the 300 and there's no automated way. So yeah, but at least 14. And
Right.
say, for example, in English, it's been used over. I'm opening the numbers now. Hold on. Yeah. 80,000 times.
Wow.
And in Spanish, a bit less, and then in Chinese, even more. So the German Wikipedia is the only big one who hasn't really used it because they have a stricter policy towards gadgets, and they seem to have another gadget that more or less performs the same functions, so they chose not to enable it. But beyond them, all the big wikis are using it.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I know. It's nice.
There's also something that is directly MediaWiki related that's on WikimediaWiki's an extension called Wikidebate that you wrote.
Oh yeah.
for the site Wikiversity, or
Yeah.
sites project Wikiversity. What's that one about?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it short. Basically, actually, the extension that is on Mediawiki isn't really enabled on Wikiversity, but the same functionality is enabled via a gadget. It doesn't really matter. The point is,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The point is, Wikidebate is basically like an attempt to create structured debates to compile all arguments for and against controversial topics, say legalization of abortion, say, or something about whether or not we should use nuclear energy, or should we colonize Mars, these kind of big questions, I guess. And and what the gadget does, it provides a way to calculate the current status of an argument, whether it's sustained or refuted, out of the structure of the debate. It's a pretty beautiful algorithm, but recently, in the last months, I have disabled it because even though it's pretty neat, it's still most people don't really want the computers to tell them the answer. they want to arrive to the answer themselves. And so for now, I'm trying without the algorithm, just the structured debates, and see how it goes.
Okay, I think I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated topic. It's difficult to summarize it. But
does that tie in at all with your philosophy background? I mean, is that the kind of thing you've been interested in?
Absolutely. In fact, within philosophy, I specialized in logic, and this Wikidebate project is actually started as a website I developed from scratch called Formal Forum. It's no longer online, but it had a more sophisticated mechanism to calculate the truth value of any premise or the status of an argument based on the objections, whether or not there were objections, in a recursive manner. Well, and it actually, when I created it, I put it online and posted it in a few places, and a lot of people got interested. It got a lot of traffic really fast. But then I found there was a mistake. There was an error with the algorithm, or rather with the philosophy behind it. And so I pulled it. I switched it off, and that was a big mistake. But through the years, I never let the idea go, and it evolved in various ways. And now the current incarnation is Wikidebate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense. You go online to various social media sites and so forth, and you can see endless variations on the same debates and same arguments going back and forth. I actually have a little bit of knowledge about this whole world or involvement because I the first site I created and my real foray into enterprise Mediawiki and all that is a site called DiscourseDB at discoursedb.org, which is still up. I'm not really maintaining it. I mean, it's a different kind of approach. It's it just puts together, notable arguments from actual sources, newspapers and magazines and stuff. But it's, I used to get emails every once in a while from people saying, try making it more of a structured approach using these, I don't know what even the terms are, epistemological ontologies or something. I don't know.
I see. Okay, but too much work, right?
It wasn't really. Yeah, it wasn't really
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to try to
merge both worlds.
Well, yeah, I mean to do something to have some kind of approach so that people don't have to. It just seems like a big waste of time for everyone to keep arguing back and forth about the same things. What do I know? Maybe if people enjoy it.
I think Wikidebate in a way, is not, is, to me, is the best I have come up with, the best incarnation of this project, not only the latest, but the best. Because, mixing wiki technology with debates, the great thing about wikis is that content does not accumulate, but rather, there's not, if you go to a philosophy forum and you start reading about some topic, you will have to browse through hundreds of pages of comments and posts and replies. Whereas on wiki pages, you just have one page, which is the result of the consensus.
Right, sure.
So same thing happens with debates. Debates in normal media become endless discussions that nobody can, apprehend. Whereas when you give it a wiki format, it's possible to sort of keep the best up front and all the rest buried in the history, which makes it, digestible, or that you can grasp it.
Yeah.
Also,
sure.
by putting it on Wikiversity, you leech on the page rank of the site, and also this guarantees a lot more views and therefore a lot more impact than if I were to start a site from zero. So currently, if you go to the Wikidebate page, at the very bottom, there's a link to the page views of the project. It's a nice number, which is, one shouldn't think just of the numbers, but it's probably much more that I would have if I were to push a site on my own, as I did a few times.
Yeah, right. So that's interesting. That actually gets. I wanted to ask about Wikiversity. It doesn't get much attention, of course, compared to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Or some of the other Wikimedia sites. Of course, it's potentially a very big deal. For the people who don't know, can you explain what the concept of Wikiversity?
Yeah. So just as Wikipedia's items are articles, or commons articles are media files, or Wiktionary items are definitions and so on. In Wikiversity, there's a broader kind of item, which is learning resources. To be honest, Wikiversity is like a much more a freer environment where the whole point is to generate resources that are useful for learning, which is a very broad scope. And that is both, for some that's a problem, but for others that's an opportunity. And so it allows things like Wikidebate, which would never fit into other more restrictive projects. And for example, there's also going on, many other things, but just to name one, there's a journal, a peer-reviewed journal going on Wikiversity, which has only recently requested to be counted as another project of the Wikimedia Foundation, in par with Wikiversity, to be given its own. Yeah, and it's also, it's getting some attention on the community because of this, and there's a lot of support. So who knows? It may just happen. So, it's like a free environment. And in fact, Wikiversity even says, that one of its goals is to explore the limits of the wiki model for learning. So yeah, it's nice to have a place where we can, create stuff that without so much stricter rules. That's the way I see it, anyway.
Yeah. I'm curious about your perspective on online learning in general, homeschooling and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's obviously a very different world online now than it was, even 5 years ago, let alone 20 years ago.
Right.
How do you feel about? Do you think that sites like Wikipedia and Wikiversity, not to mention just the web in general, can replace the current educational process?
Replace is a big word.
Well, okay, yeah.
I know it can happen, could happen, but I'm not seeing it happening anytime soon. Just to be a realist. It's not that it shouldn't happen. I'm not sure about that. We can discuss that, but I don't think it's about to happen, at least not in Argentina, because, there's a lot of people that will lose their jobs, so to speak.
Well,
But I do think, I'm convinced that the web should play a bigger role in education in formal education that it currently does. In particular, for some time, if you think about pocket calculators, for some time they were completely forbidden from class because it seemed like a way of cheating, and then sort of the curricula or the teachers, had to accept them and just redesign their courses so that having a calculator wouldn't be the difference between, approving or not. It's just a tool, and so they would test or care about other things and stop caring so much about whether or not knew how to multiply. So I think something similar should happen with the web. We should not, or Wikipedia in particular, we should not try to keep it out of classes, but rather we should try to incorporate it into the ways we teach. Say, for example, if I were to ask something like, I don't know, just improvising here, but what are the leading theories on the evolution of stars? Or something, a big question like that. It's not one Google away. You need to research this kind of thing. So having a phone will help, but will not give you the answer. So I think it should be incorporated into schools much more. And also, if I may say one more thing, there's a talk given by Isaac Asimov that is on YouTube. He tackles this issue before Google, before Wikipedia, and he sees the potential here of he sees computers as the possibility of each one of us having our own personalized teacher. Whereas, currently, at least in Argentina and many other countries, we have, one teacher for 30 students. And he says, for some it goes too slow, for some it goes too fast, for some in the wrong direction.
Right.
And so the computers open up the possibility of each one having a teacher that fits to your own needs and interests. And that is something that is, it's not just words, that's important. So we should try. I think we should try to embrace the web and the internet as a teaching tool rather than hide it or ignore it.
Yeah, cool. I'll put a link on the episode page to that talk by Isaac Asimov.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
Yeah, actually, interesting. I think about him when I think about all this online education stuff because he wrote a short story. I think it was called "The Fun They Had," which is kind of an ironic story, about kids in the future who have their learning devices and are thinking back to how much fun it must have been for all these kids, who went to school together and they were so social and everything. Yeah.
There's always the social aspect to school. That's really important. For some people, it's very important. Say people who don't have a family that is, for some, school is sort of an escape from a complicated family or environment. So that's definitely important. But I don't think that, integrating or using more of the web online on school or on education would necessarily go against that. In fact, it can even leave you more time for just social activities without having to mix them with learning activities that may not be sometimes fit for sometimes some things are best learned alone and some things are best learned with others, so I think we should have mixed both.
Yeah, well put. So changing topics, what exactly do you do these days as far as Mediawiki, and your job?
Well, these days I'm working on this gadget I mentioned, but I also have a few clients here and there. For example, there's one who has a sort of a medical wiki. He's from the US, and he wants to be able to pull data from the USDA API and just just have a nice info box for the data. So I'm sort of designing the solution. I will probably use, I think it's one of your extensions. Is it the external data extension?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will use that one. So thank you again.
Great. You're welcome.
That one's yours, right?
Yeah. Although, I mean, a lot of people have contributed to it, but I'm the person who takes everyone's patches in. I wrote the initial code.
All right.
Stuff. Yeah.
So I'll also be using that one, I guess. And then there's some other guys who want, I mentioned a modification to the page forms extension, which is also yours. So thanks again.
Sure. Okay,
and
great.
Then there's a third one from Peru who has a wiki for the government.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he needs some help with the visual editor. So I'm sort of giving him a hand there.
Yeah.
And that's, I think there's one more client around there. Yeah. Another client from Germany who requested an extension, which I wrote some time ago. I'm just closing the final details. But currently my focus is on the gadget. And then I also have like a few wiki projects, which are not like strictly speaking work, but may one day become work because they have some, I'm doing a wiki for Argentina that has sort of the law,
okay.
in wiki format. Yeah. So, and I'm slowly pushing it around the government to see, we are a few month or so away from the elections. So nobody's starting new things right now, but maybe after the elections, this project may become of interest to some branch of government, and that may help.
Yeah. So it might become an official site.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right.
I think it's good because it's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It makes sense that they would be interested in publicizing laws. So your user page on MediaWiki.org lists 2 skins and 10 extensions that you've created, and lists an additional 13 extensions that you've helped to maintain. I don't know if we can go through all of them, but first, is there some kind of overall theme to the extensions and skins that you work on? Is there some kind of pattern to it?
No, I mean, many of these were requested by clients that were open enough to want them online, without asking or wanting to appear themselves. And a few of them are just, that they became necessary for some project of mine. But without having to go through all of them, I think there's one that should really be used more, which is the first one I listed, which is called WikipediaExtracts. I'm trying to get that one installed on Wikiversity for 2 years now, but move slow. Basically, it's a parser function which brings the introduction from any Wikipedia article and just slaps it in there in your page, which sounds like really basic, but it's really, really, really efficient for, saying for in Wikiversity, if you go and search for an article on philosophy, many times, there's many things you can do on that article, but usually you want some kind of introduction to the topic, and it makes no sense to try to recreate what already has been done in Wikipedia. So this parser function just brings the introduction or the whole article if you want, and put it in there in the page. You can wrap it with a template just to give it some frame, to say, extract it from Wikipedia. And this allows to save a lot of work, to keep the content updated, to drive contributors back to Wikipedia. And it can be used, not just in Wikiversity, but in any wiki. And I use it a lot, and some of my clients do too. So that one I'm really proud of. I think it's simple idea, but really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, when you put it that way, I've actually had I recall at least one consulting project where people asked us if that kind of thing existed. That was a long time ago, but yeah, it makes sense. If you have a page on some topic that's already covered in Wikipedia, there's no point, either recreating content or copying over the content. You should just query it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact,
so you can get Yeah, so and you can get it. You can go to any language Wikipedia.
Yeah, it usually defaults to the language of your wiki.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you're in a Spanish wiki, we'll query the Spanish Wikipedia, but you can change that from parameters.
Yeah.
So that one's really good. And in fact, there is, if there's one thing that's sort of, it may be common throughout some of my work, I won't say it's all of it, but this content reusing, I think it's really, really important, especially to make the most out of the few resources we have, by which I mean volunteer time. So, for example, you got the Wikipedia extracts, and then if you browse through my user page, you go to cascading content, it will take you to a link either in the English or the Spanish Wikipedia, depending on which one you clicked, which basically links, it's some information on a template I created, which basically extracts the introduction from one Wikipedia article and allows you to put it into another Wikipedia article, all right?
Yeah, okay.
So that is really, really useful for many articles. Say, for example, the philosophy article in Spanish used to have a section for metaphysics, which was basically a summary of the article on metaphysics.
Right, yeah.
So what I did was, I grabbed that section and merged it with the article, and then I extracted the introduction of the metaphysics article and put it in the philosophy article. You follow?
Sure, yeah.
So then I did that with every other section, like logic, ethics, and then with the history sections and methodology sections, all sections that used to have a main article associated are now merely extracts of the introduction of the articles.
Yeah.
So this makes it much more efficient, and there's this technique and a sort of tree, because then the metaphysics article reuses content from other more specific articles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So this makes a tree, and this is catching on the Spanish Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask how they've reacted to that.
Well, they liked it, but unfortunately, they're using it a lot on articles on TV series and sports results.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right. There's nothing wrong with that, but come on. If you look at the top 100 articles on the English Wikipedia, it's all TV, man.
Sure. Yes.
Which it's not bad, but a bit disappointing in my opinion. Wikipedia, I think it was not meant for that. Whatever.
That's true. Yeah, that's how it's been pretty much since the beginning. But yeah,
I guess you're right.
Come on, people, read more.
Asimov or
read
science.
more interesting things. Yes, right. Read philosophy. Maybe
that. No, but politics, history, ethics, environment. There's so many topics, But now it has to be TV and sports. Okay, a bit of that is fine, but we're overdoing it.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
I did want to ask about the reuse of content. That came up quite a bit. I'm sure you've heard of Wikidata, which is obviously all about reuse.
Absolutely.
Although there it's on a fact level, one fact at a time kind of thing, as opposed to a whole paragraphs or something.
Yeah.
I had an episode where I talked to Denny Vrandicic, the founder of Wikidata.
I heard it.
Oh, okay. So I mean, his vision is to have like a universal language where you create a whole article in this universal language and then it gets translated into every language. So I figured it would be like on a section by section or paragraph by paragraph basis, so that you could reuse those paragraphs in different places. But he said no, you just wanted to keep it simple, and it would be the entire article, one at a time, I guess to prevent any unnecessary complexity from killing the project. But yeah, I don't know if you've thought about all this reuse stuff in the context of Wikidata, or have looked into Wikidata or anything.
Well, yeah, of course I know Wikidata. I haven't had much experience reusing content there yet, mostly because I have a lot of trouble with the APIs. I know there are several of them, but I just don't seem to, every time I try to get some data, it's overly complicated for me.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Maybe I'm just asking the wrong questions. I just need to, find a project or idea or that turns out to be simpler to ask. But so far I haven't had much luck. Still, I guess with time it's unavoidable. It's just a all-encompassing project, and sooner or later I will have to come.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I agree. It's too difficult to query at the moment with the Sparkle and everything, and that'd be a great project for anyone to.
We need a REST API. Give me a JSON object. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
And then we can do some magic. I mean, maybe it's possible. Just the times I tried, I failed. I devoted several hours. So
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, I think an actual GUI, like a graphic user interface for browsing and querying, is the way to go, and then you can get URLs or Sparkle queries or something for after you've traversed or found whatever you're looking for. I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right. Well,
working on it.
Someone's project. So great. I think. Are there any other extensions or skins or something that are interesting that you want to talk about, or potentially interesting?
If you go to wikiar.org, you will see one of the skins I developed, which is called Poncho.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think is very neat. I already a few of my clients have sort of bought it, or paid me to install it, or maybe how to speak, or to customize it one way or another. I think it's pretty neat. I'm thinking every now and then on maybe pushing it as a possible alternative. Another scheme for Wikipedia, because it's quite stable. Works with the visual editor, with the page forms, with whatever you give it, with a flow, and also quite minimalist and clean. So I'm quite proud of it. I'm continually developing it. Sometimes for clients, sometimes for my projects. So that's one skin definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. Wait, what was it? What was the site? WikiArt? A-R-T?
A-R.
wikiar.org. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it's responsive, like it's mobile friendly.
It's responsive, definitely. Of course, you can also install Minerva skin if you prefer that one for mobiles, but it's responsive, so you can also use it on mobiles and tablets.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, and then when it comes to extensions, the only other one I would, I think is, each one has, a few of them are, for very specific uses, but there's a simple, nice one called Metadata, which is really useful for developing other extensions. it basically provides a few simple methods for setting and getting metadata on any page, which is sometimes what you need. So usually definitely useful for other developers. And then the DebateTree extension is the one that's sort of based on the Wikidebate project, but not currently used there. So yeah. Oh, and then there's one that's called TimeMachine, which is nice. The idea is good, which is basically is used for if you need to browse to some point in the past on the history of a wiki, you can do that with TimeMachine.
So, that's been something that people have talked about for Wikipedia for a long time.
Already.
There's some project or extension called Memento.
Actually. Yeah, when I tried to push that one, TimeMachine for the, not for Wikipedia, for Mediawiki.org, because sometimes I needed to browse the documentation of some old version, because some client have an old version installed. It's a pain. If you need to check more than one page, it's a pain. So, and even if you need to check only one page.
If the template changed or something, then you can
so TimeMachine sort of I tried to push TimeMachine for that, but then someone said, we should push on with Memento, and I went to check it out. It had a completely different approach. So I didn't really have any need back then, so I just left it there for maybe sometime in the future.
Yeah, okay, but TimeMachine works if people want to install it on their wiki?
Yeah, it works. Well,
cool.
I should check the latest, if with the latest Mediawiki, but it should work,
This is probably too much to ask, but does it handle templates too? Like, uses the template, the version of the template that existed at that date?
I think it does, but not with the images.
Oh, okay, that's still something. Yeah. Cool. That's
also, sorry, one more thing. Well, maybe you were about to ask this or not, I'm not sure. But beyond extensions, there's this WikiWidgets thing. I'm not sure if you count that as an extension. I'm not sure are you on my user page by any chance?
I clicked on the WikiProject WikiWidgets.
Yeah. So basically, those are like JavaScript widgets for Wikipedia. They are currently actually on Wikipedia running. If you go a bit down on the page and say they are available WikiWidgets, and then go on, Vivarium. So in this, and you go to the very right, there's a live example.
Okay.
Just Control F for live example.
I'm doing this. Hopefully this. Bear with us, listeners, or you can do this yourself.
Okay.
So there'll be a link to this from the page. There's a link to the. Yeah, there it is. I'm looking at Juego de la Vida.
Yeah.
On the Spanish-language Wikipedia. There's a nice little game of life simulation thing running.
Yeah, so that's pure JavaScript. With jQuery, and it's running live on Wikipedia. And there's a whole system. It works sort of like a gadget. But on a page rather than it fills a div with it has a whole system going on to make it work. But basically, it's what you see, like interactive JavaScript widgets on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just JavaScript that's added directly or indirectly to the common.js page, and then
exactly.
It can be run from.
Exactly. So it was a nice project, but a lot of work. I did my part. Now it comes to turn for someone else to continue it, or it will probably stay there.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool to have like actual little JavaScript. I mean, there's so many potential animations you can do, like interactive animations and stuff.
Totally.
Cool. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think what that project needs is some like killer app, so to speak, like this game of life is too too specific. Maybe some chess widget or something that may be used in many articles rather than just a couple.
Right. Yeah. Well, it would definitely make it easier to do animations rather than someone having to create
the whole
an
thing.
a little animation for each thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you come up with that killer widget, just let me know and I may just program it.
Oh, okay. Can it do like maps? I mean, you can do anything, of course, but
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anyone's listening and has some idea for a nice JavaScript widget that can be stuck into Wikipedia articles, I guess they should contact you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to help.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's a bit my work.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I think that's all my questions. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I think. Let me think. No, I think my only, all of these things are nice, but the one thing I think that really can make a difference, maybe it's not so much Mediawiki related, but Wikipedia related, but anyway, is this thing I mentioned on cascading content, on reusing parts of articles in other articles.
Right.
I have been using it on, many articles on philosophy and science, and the quality of the content has improved so much with so little work. It just makes so much sense. If anyone is listening, I recommend you take a close look, because I really think it's worth it. And even I tried to go to the Wikimania this year, requested a grant, to explain this idea, to show it live, because I think it's amazing. But and people in Spanish Wikipedia are slowly catching on. I still haven't started pushing it in the English Wikipedia, so I think sometime this year I will. Yeah, but it's really, really useful, really good.
So it's in use only on the Spanish-language Wikipedia right now?
Yeah, in the English Wikipedia, there's the template is there, but I haven't used it in any. I mean, it's possible to use it, but I just haven't done it yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, so anyone could.
Yeah.
Potentially, but okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I certainly can't argue with you about the value of data reuse within Mediawiki. I mean, that's sort of what I've built my whole career on. So.
Okay.
I understand.
So I don't need to convince you.
No, yeah. I'm on your side on this one. You've already got one guy.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever edit Wikipedia or anymore?
Yeah, I edit Wikipedia.
All right. Yeah, and there's a nice little essay I wrote somewhere. It's called Asimov's Prophecy.
Okay.
Yeah, if you check my user page, there's a link there, which basically says that Asimov wrote a novel, called Foundation. There's a Foundation series in which he imagined a future where humanity is sort of doomed, and so the Galactic Empire sort of grabs some people, and the Empire asks them to write a huge encyclopedia to capture all human knowledge and be able to rebuild the Empire after it falls. So, there's a strong correlation between this story and the way I sort of look at humanity right now. And I see Wikipedia is, if we don't manage to avert the dangers, environmental mainly, or even nuclear, who knows, that are sort of looming in the future. This may become a prophecy by this man. And I think, if you know anything about Asimov, you would not take his work lightly. I mean, he was a fucking genius.
Sure.
And so, I think he may have, done a prophetic work there, and there's some connection with Wikipedia. That's a nice little essay. I'm kind of proud. a bit pessimistic, maybe.
Right.
But maybe it's realistic. Who knows?
Well, we'll see.
Hopefully, he was wrong. Hopefully, he's wrong.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. If you're listening to this in the future, if you're listening to this from a pile of rubble, then I don't know. He was right. You keep editing Wikipedia, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's all I got anyway. But I'm not sure if you got any more questions. But at least by myself, that's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, that's great. I think we covered a lot of stuff. There'll be links to all of that stuff so people can check out your ideas and your extensions and skins and so forth. Cool. And I hope I hope you can make it to Wikimania. Maybe we'll both meet at some Wikimania in the future.
I hope so too. Next year, this technique will definitely have spread much more. Now it's in use in something like 400 articles, like not that much, but still a number, growing every day. So maybe by next year it will be many more.
Yeah, you're talking about the cascading content thing?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. That'll be great. All right. Well, I guess that's it. It was great talking to you, Felipe, and thanks for being on the podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Yaron, speaking with you. So until next time.
Hasta luego.
Bye.
And this has been another episode of Between the Brackets. I want to again thank my guest, Felipe Schenone, otherwise known as Sophivorus, or Sophivorus if you prefer. Thanks to all of you for listening, and I'll see you next time.